Dr. Ruchi Gupta. I am a plastic surgeon who frequently do gender affirmation surgeries. Being a doctor, many a times we focus so much on the treatment of the patient, the alleviation of their pain, that we tend to forget and undermine very few basic things like identity, which itself is very important. Even our Supreme Court says that every person has got the right to be identified the way he desires under the universal principles of right to choose. So, identity is very important. So, when we meet for the first time with any patient, we should identify with them, we should acknowledge them. Talking to an old lady, Mosi, sabu bhalo hi jibo, everything will be fine. Or talking to a small child that let's discuss something about Chota Beam or we'll have fruity, that allays that anxiety of the patient, identifies with them, and that opens them, builds their confidence. So, giving them identification is very good. Today I'll be exchanging my experience, I'll be sharing my experience with you with of some of my patients in their journey from their first appointment to the end of the surgery and even beyond that. When I was in my MCH tenure, my consultant said, Ruchi, this is your case, take care of it. I went to the patient to draw some blood for the routine tests. I asked the patient, what is your name? Patient says, Sona. Sona? But on file it is Sonu. She said, no, I want you to call me Sona. I am Sona and I am a transgender. And that was my first experience with a transgender patient. Sona told me that she has been allotted a bed in male surgical ward, but she will not stay there, and she wants to be shifted to female surgical ward. That strong was the desire to be identified as female. I took up the case, kept her in my duty room for one day. Next day she was operated, and then I made sure that patient is shifted to the female surgical ward. So, who are transgenders? Transgender or a gender dysphoria is a condition in which the patient is there is incongruence between the body and mind. The patient is psychologically male and is phenotypically female or vice versa. Now, how common it is? Knowing the incidence helps us that what are the chances of patient falling in this category. For example, in European statistics, 1 in 30,000 males and 1 in 100,000 females seek gender affirmation surgery. According to, in Indian context, according to 2011 census, there are 4.8 lakh transgenders in India, of which highest are in UP, and Odisha has 4% of them. But believe me, this number is just an illusion, because many of them do not come out with this identity of theirs because of the social stigma attached to it. Now, why it happens? There are various, actually we do not know why it happens, but when we do not know, there are more of theories proposed. So, for this also, we have got a hormonal theory, according to which in the 8th week of gestation, the external genitalia develops because of the Y chromosome, male external genitalia develops because of the Y chromosome. This secretes testosterone and that leads to masculinization of the brain. So, if there is an imbalance, then the phenotypia will be male, but psychologically there will be female. The neuronal theory says that there are nuclei in the hypothalamus which have got certain number of neurons, size of neurons which differ in male and female, and if there is incongruence there, then this transgender condition develops. The genetic theory says that 54 genes are there for gender definition, of which 18 are dominant in male and 36 are dominant in female, which are responsible for activation of hormones, and there the condition may be, that may be the reason for the condition. Overall, none of this is important. What I want to focus on is that it is a congenital condition, is what we can say. It is a congenital condition which presents later in life. So, transgender identity. Transgenders identify their identity in a variety of ways. Some of them correlate to very early moments of their life. The study says that mean age at which the transgender feels that their identity is about 4.7 to 6.8 years of age. That is very early in childhood. They begin to like some particular type of clothes, play with some particular type of toys, or they talk in some particular way. So, but by the adolescence, their preferences are fixed, their feelings are identified, and they are not comfortable in their body. But still, they may not present because of the non-conducive environment they are in. I am not a transgender, so I cannot feel how they feel. But I could understand the distress of these patients when I met one patient. I'll tell you a story here, which actually happened. One of my patients, who was phenotypically female and psychologically male, her parents were not understanding her transgender status. So they just married her off to finish the story. So they just married her off. The patient did not accept a male partner and was in so much of agony that she went to the bathroom to perform a mastectomy without any anesthesia. Imagine so much of the pain she had to undergo to tell the people what she feels and what she wants to be identified as. Then on, I understand that these people need empathy. Empathy which says, yes, I understand your feeling. Not sympathy, that I am sorry for you. No, please empathize with them. But there is another extreme to it. Once in my OPD, a couple came with a small child wearing pant shirt, some short hair. They said that they have got 4 daughters, and this daughter of theirs likes to wear pant shirt, plays with guns, uses slang language. So please convert her to male. I asked the child, why do you wear this type of clothes? Her simple answer was, my parents buy this for me. Imagine, so much is the societal pressure to have a male child that they wanted to convert a female to male. Now this brings us to a question, whom to operate? I tell you, a more important question than this is, whom not to operate. Why? Because if we do a surgery in a person who doesn't feel, who is not in a gender dysphoria, then this condition is even more devastating. So we should know whom not to operate. Gender expansive is the term used for the child who shows the behavior which does not conform to their phenotypia. That means being a male, they may behave like female. But one should understand that only 10% of these people finally need surgery. Many of them may be transvestite, lesbians, gay, or may have psychotic problems like schizophrenia. 1/4 population of schizophrenia shows the symptoms of gender dysphoria. And here one should also make it a point to see the patient's compliance to the disease, to the medicines. Otherwise, the symptoms will persist, and if surgery is done in these cases, it is very devastating. Therefore, WPATH as it is called, or the World Association for Transgender Health, Professional Association for Transgender Health, has put up some criteria to figure out the transgender people. It is the sense of discomfort and inappropriateness, a wish for changes in the body, to be of desired gender and live like one. Discomfort should persist for more than 2 years and not limited to the period of stress, and absence of genetic abnormality and mental health. Broadly we see, as I see, these criteria are to make sure that surgery is not misused because of the social prejudices. Now, to solidify that, before performing any treatment, we need psychological evaluation. Psychological evaluations has to be minimum for the period of 3 months, and one evaluation of more than 3 months is good enough to start the basic treatment of hormone therapy, laser hair reduction or mastectomies. But for the definitive surgeries, 2 psychological evaluations are a must. After the psychological evaluation, we go for hormone therapy. Hormone therapy minimum should be of 6 months. But during this period, the patient begins to feel like one of the preferred gender and begins to look like the one of the preferred gender. So I feel it is a honeymoon period in which the patient comes out of the depression and begins to wear a smile on their face. It was nicely told to me by one of my patients, my fight with myself has achieved a ceasefire. And for me, it is the time when the society is getting to get adjusted to the new persona of that person. So now, when that person is socially acceptable in their preferred gender, then we can perform the surgery. Performing this surgery, there are many ways of performing this one procedure. There are many notified procedures of performing the surgery. But I follow my mentor's advice. Repetition is the mother of skill. You choose one, practice one, master it, and that is the best procedure to follow for you. So, I chose one, and that is the way I perform the surgery. But more important than surgery is, I want to point out one thing. Emasculation is a grievous hurt under section 320. It is punishable under section 320. But under section 88, if it is done with the consent of the person, for the benefit of the person, telling the person the pros and cons of it in good faith, then it is not cognizable, it is not punishable. So, till now, no gender affirmation surgeon has ever been convicted. But the take-home message is that consent in these cases is very important. Even it may be required that the consent form should be in the form of an affidavit registered by the notary, because one should understand the long-term effects of the surgery. We are changing the identity of the person. The name and sex of this person will be changed on all his certificates, the ID cards, so much so on the passports also. Here I will show a video of one of my patients.
सर्जरी हो चुका है, ये मेरे लिए बिल्कुल एक नया जन्म है और इसका क्रेडिट जाता है रुचि को और रुचि के मेडिकल टीम को। एंड रुचि ने मुझे अगर कहा जाए तो एक नई जिंदगी दी है, एक नया रूप।
Thanks for the applause. This is one of my first patient, Sarah. This video is very fulfilling for me. She says, I have given her a new birth. But believe me, after surgery, a female, you cannot differentiate her from a trans female. And the person feels so happy. It's like they have been liberated from their entrapped body. It's like seeing a beautiful butterfly coming out of their cocoon. And that is why many of my patients do consider me their godmother. In the end, my talk will not be complete if I don't say thanks to my team who tirelessly worked with me for the long surgeries. And through this talk, I would give a salute to my patients who, through their strong will and perseverance, achieved their goal and are slowly making a change in the society. I may be a bit more audacious saying that nature makes a mistake of entrapping a psyche in a wrong body, and I am able to align them. because of the technological advancement in the science. But I would also point out that we are lacking that emotional intelligence, that yes, we can accept the other person as they are. So here, in the words of Kathleen Jenner, who himself is a transgender, it's just not about one person. It's about thousands of people. It's not just about me. It's about all of us accepting one another, because we are all different. So we should learn to accept the person as they are, because we are all different. Thank you.